World War III is on the foreseeable horizon. It's become an eventuality at this point. We know China is revising its laws when it comes to conscription. We know that Russia is likely to launch an all-out offensive in Ukraine very soon here. We also know Iran recently revealed that they have underground Air Force bases. And all three of those countries have actually worked together in joint military exercises very recently. So we need to understand that this situation is developing. And what we're talking about today is the fact that you need to get your hands on as much of this crap as you possibly can before that supply line gets cut off. And what am I talking about when I say this crap? Well, this is Chinese-made, Amazon-delivered crap that has a role in practicality when it comes to preparedness that's extremely affordable. And that's the part that I think I need to stress here. This stuff is very affordable right now, and it is practical in the sense of preparedness. This is actually a car battery jump starter. My truck battery here is dead. I was out in the cold for a little too long and I hadn't driven it in a minute, and of course the battery died. So I thought maybe this is a good opportunity for me to find out if this $55 jump starter off Amazon could actually get my Toyota Tundra up and running again. And here's the thing, this is USB rechargeable and it has a power bank that you can charge other USB devices from, not to mention it has a flashlight on it too, and it was $55. And you can actually get a cheaper one if you don't have as big of a vehicle as I do. So this stuff is cheap right now, but if we find ourselves at war with China, which we have Air Force generals saying is going to happen within the next couple of years, or if we find ourselves defending Taiwan, we're not only going to lose access to things like semiconductors, but we're going to lose access to the supply line of affordable, practical stuff. And as much as I'd rather promote American-made products and American-made manufacturing processes, the problem is that you can't get that in a $55 package for what this item is. This stuff comes from China very cheaply. And that's unfortunate, but that's the reality that we live in. And as preppers, we have to use logic and we have to base ourselves in reality so that we can be as prepared as possible. And I know most of us operate with a limited budget. So sometimes it's important to be able to have something as practical as a $55 jump starter that does all the things I already talked about it being able to do, that I can get right off the internet delivered to my front door. But the big thing is going to be, does it actually work? Now, of course, any of this really cheap Chinese stuff, you have to test out to see if it works or not. And I'm not talking about just jump starters. I mean, anything made in China that's affordable right now might be cut off tomorrow for all we know if this eventual conflict actually goes down. And you have to understand that these things you can get now won't be very available come that time. And I think that you should definitely be prioritizing anything you're worried about having in a budgetary sense that you know you can affordably acquire right now that might not be available later, okay? So I'm gonna test this thing out because let's find out if it works or not. And then I suggest you do that with any cheaper Chinese-made electronic devices you might purchase for these purposes. Because let's be honest, a jump starter is probably one of the most practical preparedness items you could have in the sense of vehicle breakdown, and dead battery is one of the most common things you might experience in normal life versus just even an emergency situation. But one that can be USB recharged and acts as a power bank and has a flashlight, because everything that's USB rechargeable has a flashlight now, well, might actually have some more practical application than just being a jump starter. So that's another power source for you, especially if you're in an emergency situation. And this thing actually has a very small form factor. It's called the Bible. Not sure if they were trying to use the word Bible in there to make people in our hemisphere a little more interested in the concept, but what I will say is that it came in like the most Chinese packaging ever, the most made in China packaging you could imagine, right? So of course that's exactly what this item is, but is it worth how cheap it is? And if something that works in this type of budget constraint actually works the way it's supposed to, well, is it worth getting? Right? So let's find out. Let's use it right now. But this is not about this product. This is about the message that these are things you should just get now if you can, or if you need to. If you're missing gaps in your preparedness and you know that some of these cheaper items might be able to do the trick, maybe you don't want to support them because they're made in China, which I totally understand. But I'm telling you, most of this stuff, even if it's got the word Die Hard written on it or any other brand you want to throw out there, is probably made in China, no matter what you do, especially when it comes to electronics. Now, I'm gonna hook it up to the truck, and I'm gonna try to start the truck, but first I'm gonna show you that the truck battery is actually dead, because I'm not just trying to promote this thing. If it doesn't work, we're gonna find out it doesn't work right now together. Quickly though, I do need to mention that Midway USA is the biggest supporter of the channel, and they don't have jump starters, which is why I had to get this thing off of Amazon. But I will say they do have other alternative power options, which might be a good thing for you to check out. So a big thank you to Midway USA for helping me do what I do here, and let's find out if this thing actually works. So in order to kind of keep everything as, you know, honest and transparent as possible, I'm gonna bring you over inside of my truck cabin here so you can see that it is in fact a dead battery right now. So follow me, or not follow me, move you into a position that should allow you to see things a little bit better. How about that? And we'll see if this even works, because I'm not really a great cameraman, and I am in fact my own cameraman. All right, hopefully you can kind of see, we'll just see what happens, but you should be able to hear that the starter is just not going to turn over. If I use the right key, that would also be a little bit more helpful, I assume. I think you're aware now that the battery is in fact dead. So let's try out our little Buble jump starter and see if it actually works. 55 bucks. I mean, if it works, I'll be impressed and I won't be that upset either. Okay, so go ahead, open it up here, and I will show you exactly what comes in this thing. I know I'm off frame right now. I know, I told you I'm not a good cameraman. So this is the jump starter. It's just this. Like, here's the form factor for you so you can see what it is I'm showing you here. It's nothing. It's very small. I mean, yeah, it's bigger than a cell phone, but this is the jump starter that's going to jump my truck. I guess we'll find out, won't we? All right. So I got to hook up the little gator clips to it. And yeah, I pre-read the instructions, you know, just to make sure I wasn't going to electrocute myself and die via proxy in a China war that none of us knew we were already fighting, unless you did know. All right. So let's see. I'm trying to get you in here a little bit better. Can I get you in here better so we can do this together? Come on. Come on, we're trying. This is YouTube here. I gotta be better at this kind of stuff, right? Okay, so gator clips plug right into the unit. I'm gonna show you that here. All right, gator clips go in there. Okay, we're blinking. Blinking red and green means it's supposed to work now, okay? So let's go ahead and move the camera angle down. All right, so hopefully this is a better camera angle. Let's get this thing clipped on, all right? Gator clips, we're gonna put positive down first. Come on, you can do it. There we go. Okay, we got a green light on the charger, which means it's supposed to work. Let's find out. Guess we'll find out the hard way, won't we? Maybe I just ruined my truck by using a $55 Chinese jump starter. Oh, I should probably grab my keys. Let's go. Not working. Well, it did work. So, what did we learn? Well, we learned that this stuff supposedly works, right? Hold on, I'm gonna disconnect. All right. So, I'll lean down here. This thing, it worked, it jumped the truck. Was it as intuitive as I thought it should be? Maybe not right away, but hey, it turned on after a few tries. This stuff is cheap right now. 55 bucks. I got a battery pack. I can jump start a vehicle the size of a Toyota Tundra. Got a flashlight, because everything just does now. But this is the stuff you should get now before you camp. Because honestly, as soon as something pops up with China, this is the kind of stuff that's just gonna disappear. So if you have gaps in your preps, I'm not telling anybody we need to support China. I'm not telling anybody we shouldn't support American manufacturing. Don't misread what I am trying to tell you here. Some of this stuff is made in China no matter what. And some of it's much cheaper and has a better form and function than some of the more expensive stuff that you can buy off the shelf here. So these are all things I just wanted you to consider and be aware of, because it could be any minute now where we find ourselves in that conflict, and I'm not exactly sure how that's gonna go. So, without anything else to say about it, that's gonna be it for Magic Prepper.